and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavor show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today we're really getting into it with a fascinating stack of sources. They paint an incredibly detailed picture, like a high-res snapshot of some pretty intense domestic troubles and, well, community conflicts bubbling up.
Yeah, it's quite the set. We're looking at 3 distinct dramas unfolding, but they're all tangled up, you know? Secrets, confrontations, and this tricky business of when, or even if, you should step in.
Exactly. And what's striking is that these aren't just simmering tensions. In this material, things really escalate. They come to a head pretty decisively.
Absolutely. You could almost call this deep dive a masterclass in communication failures, maybe. It shows how these, seemingly small secrets or misunderstandings can just spiral completely out of control if they're not handled well.
Right. So our mission today is to unpack these for you. We want to pull out the main conflict in each situation, try to understand why people did what they did, their motivations, and then look at what happened immediately after.
Okay, so the 3 threads we're pulling on are, first, there's this whole business with Leonard. He's supposedly off to Borchester Farm Supplies, but it gets, well, suspicious.
Then, thread 2, the community shop suddenly gets kicked out of its location, a real crisis point there.
And finally, George. He makes this really bold, you might even say risky move to try and patch things up between his fiancée, Amber, and her estranged father, Bill Gordon.
So, yeah. Quite a mix. It definitely doesn't shy away from the messiness when people try to intervene, even with good intentions.
Let's get into it.
Okay, let's start with Leonard. Now, on the surface, this sounds almost mundane, doesn't it? He's meant to be getting a new milking apron.
Yeah, but as you hinted, a milking apron is rarely just a milking apron in these situations. The sources give us crucial background almost immediately.
Yes, the mother, who's our observer here, she mentions a history, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
She flags that she'd actually caught Leonard spying before this, and apparently he got a bit defensive about it back then. So that seed of doubt, that little bit of mistrust, it's already there. It kind of poisons the well from the start.
Okay, so that context is key. Because when she tries to call him later about the apron, presumably, and he doesn't answer his mobile...
Instead of thinking, oh, a signal's bad, or, maybe his phone's off.
Her mind goes somewhere else entirely. She decides to drive all the way down to Borchester Farm, supplies herself. She sort of frames it as needing some other things, but come on.
It's pretty transparent, isn't it? The real reason is clear. And wouldn't you know it, her suspicions are seemingly confirmed.
What does she find?
Well, she finds him. He's there in a little cafe bit of the club supplies. And crucially, he is not alone.
Okay.
Yeah, he's sitting there with a woman. And the description is, well, pointed. They look very cozy, apparently.
Close. Wow. Okay, so suspicion confirmed. In her mind, at least. Now, this is where it gets interesting tactically, like you said. Her daughter's on the phone, getting these updates live.
And the daughter actually gives what sounds like pretty sensible advice, doesn't she?
Yeah, she says something like, just go over and say hello, I'm sure it's all above board, and then adds, it's far weirder you just lurking about spying again.
A fair point. But the mother refuses. She digs her heels in. Why? Why choose spying, this drawn-out, painful approach, when she could just confront him? Or even just walk over?
She claims it's about not interfering, right? Especially because she suspects this is happening behind Jill's back, Jill being Leonard's wife.
It's almost like weaponized non-interference, if that makes sense. It feels driven by confirmation bias.
Yeah.
If her real goal was just to find out the truth or protect Jill, wouldn't she just ask or call Jill?
That would resolve it quickly, yeah.
But the way she handles it, by lurking and reporting back, it almost suggests she's maybe more invested in confirming her own suspicion. Maybe even the, dare I say, the drama of knowing the secret, rather than actually solving anything.
So by refusing to interfere directly, she keeps the suspicion alive, at least for herself. The drama continues.
Precisely. It's this whole crisis built purely on, well, inaction, her inaction and inference. Leonard has no idea he's being watched.
Well, his mother-in-law, presumably, has mentally escalated a quick coffee into something much more sinister, all because he missed a phone call.
Yeah, that lack of communication, the unanswered phone, combined with that little bit of defensive history, it created this perfect storm, this vacuum. And she just filled it with the worst possible interpretation.
And unlike our next story, this crisis is just left hanging there, simmering.
It is. Which brings us nicely to the next situation, actually.
Right. So moving from that simmering, maybe purely internal drama with Leonard, which hinged on the mother not acting directly.
We pivot to the community shop. And here, it's the absolute opposite, isn't it? We get sudden, decisive, almost aggressive intervention.
Yeah, from the vicar, Alan. It completely shuts things down. But maybe first let's set the scene a bit. Were there signs this was coming?
Well, yes and no. We knew the shop, run by Susan, was having practical issues in the church location. There's that conversation between Joy and Ruth.
Oh yeah, where Ruth mentions she actually missed the old delivery service Susan used to run, found it very handy time-wise.
Right, and Susan herself knew the church space wasn't ideal. The source mentions things like misshapen bread and broken biscuits, just logistical headaches from cramming everything in. She said it was a bit of a squeeze fitting everything in the car, even for deliveries before. So challenges were definitely there.
Okay, so it wasn't perfect,
Yeah.
but then Susan goes to meet Alan, the vicar.
And the source says he looked pretty serious.
Introducing the Archer's mug, where elegance meets everyday comfort. Crafted from premium white ceramic, designed with vibrant peekaboo colors inside, simple, modern, and stylish. Start your day the Archer's way, with warmth, familiarity, and the comfort of voices you've come to love. As the stories unfold on the Archers, let this mug become part of your daily ritual, a small reminder of life in Ambridge. Practical for every home, dishwasher and microwave safe. Available in 2 sizes, 11 ounces and 15 ounces, designed to fit your lifestyle. Enjoy your favorite drink in a mug that connects you to Britain's most beloved countryside story, The Archers. For more information, and to order your very own The Archer's mug, follow the link below and make it part of your daily routine.
That's never a good sign.
No. And then he delivers the news. The church is no longer the best fit for the shop.
And the reason given, recent incidents. That's the key phrase.
Okay, so what were these incidents? This is crucial.
Absolutely crucial. They're not just minor complaints. It's a real list. First, rats. Obvious health and safety nightmare right there.
Yikes. Okay.
Second, a bread delivery managed to actually interrupt a funeral. I mean, talk about bad timing and, well, fundamentally disrupting the core purpose of the building.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you can see how that wouldn't go down well.
And third, people were apparently showing up on Sundays when the church is, being a church, and complaining that the shop wasn't open. So a clash of expectations, a clash of purpose.
So it wasn't really about the shop failing as a business, was it? It was about the location just not working. The shop being maybe too much a part of messy, everyday life for a sacred space.
That's a great way to put it. It's this fundamental incompatibility. And poor Susan is just floored. She feels it's impossible to run a community shop like this when we haven't even got a building. Totally understandable fatigue and despair there.
But she also says they can't throw it all away now. There's still that fighting spirit.
Yes. And the source pivots really quickly here. The crisis immediately shifts focus. It goes from we need a building to, well, maybe we need wheels.
Ah, the mobile option. Joy suggests they go properly mobile.
Right. And it echoes what Ruth said earlier, remember, about liking the convenience of deliveries. So maybe the vicar's intervention, as harsh as it felt, actually pushed them towards a potentially better, more sustainable model.
A blessing in disguise, perhaps, though they'd need something much bigger than Susan's car to make it work properly.
Definitely. So an ending, but also maybe a new beginning forced upon them. A very different kind of intervention than the mother's spying.
Completely different. Which takes us to our third situation. This one feels the most high stakes, personally, I think. George deciding to wade into his fiancée Amber's family problems.
Yeah, this is moving from community and spousal suspicion to direct family mediation. High risk, high reward, maybe.
Possibly. George lays out his reason pretty clearly. He says Amber is really cut up about her parents, and apparently she doesn't want to get married till it's all sorted.
So the wedding is basically on hold because of this estrangement. George feels like he has to do something. It's a classic case of a third party seeing a stalemate and thinking, okay, I need to try and break this.
And he doesn't go in cold, does he? His father gives him some advice.
Oh yeah, quite detailed prep notes, tells him he needs to be properly presentable, look the part, needs to be charming, and really importantly, work out what you want to say. Treat it seriously.
Like a negotiation.
Exactly. not just a casual chat. So George goes to find Bill Gordon, Amber's dad. He owns this car dealership, the big one near the roundabout.
And there's a nice little detail in the source about Bill describes him as having farming hands, but he's actually a former plumber who built this successful business. Gives you a sense of the man.
It does. Grounded, maybe, but also successful, perhaps a bit tough. So George meets him. What's his opening pitch?
He tries to establish his sincerity, basically. Says he would have asked Bill for permission to propose, old school style if things had been different. Says he really wants Bill and Mrs. Gordon to approve of me, of us. He's trying to bridge the gap.
A direct appeal for approval. How does Bill react?
It's a shutdown, almost immediately. Bill states very clearly, we don't approve of the relationship.
Oof.
And he doubles down, confirming they made their feelings very clear to Amber. So at that point you think, well, that's it, mission failed.
Yeah, sounds like a dead end. But then there's a twist, isn't there?
There is. Bill adds something crucial. He says their door has always been open. Open for Amber to call them, anytime.
Ah, the classic, the ball is in their court defense. From Bill's perspective, it's on Amber. She's the one who needs to reach out, maybe apologize, fix things.
Exactly. But this is where George does something quite clever, I thought.
What does he do?
Instead of just accepting that, saying, okay, I'll tell Amber, he flips it. He takes control of that open door idea. He suggests that maybe Bill or Mrs. Gordon should be the ones to make the first move. He uses Amber's personality as leverage, saying she can be a bit stubborn.
Huh. That's smart. He's basically saying, you know your daughter. If you really want this sorted, maybe you need to bridge that last gap because she might not.
Exactly. He turns Bill's condition back on him. He's shifting the burden of initiation, using the very stubbornness Bill might dislike as the reason Bill needs to act.
That takes guts and skill. He's turning a rejection into, well, not acceptance, but maybe a potential path forward.
Pretty much. He leaves Bill with Amber's address written down, urges him to just drop by sometime, and lands this little emotional punch at the end saying, Amber missed you.
Wow. So George didn't get the approval he wanted. Not at all.
I shall.
But he managed to reframe the situation, didn't he? He created an opening, however small, and put the onus back on the parents.
He did. He acted as the strategic go-between, maybe achieving more than Amber felt able to herself.
A half victory, perhaps. He didn't solve it, but he changed the dynamic.
Okay, so that's a lot we've covered. 3 really dense situations. We saw Leonard's issue just left to fester.
Right. Unresolved suspicion.
Then the shop crisis, which got a very decisive, if harsh, resolution, leading to a potential new direction.
Problem solved, maybe even improved, through external force.
And finally, George's attempt at mediation, which resulted in, well, like you said, a half victory. An opening created.
So if we try and, tie these threads together,
yeah,
what's the bigger picture here? What connects Leonard's secret rendezvous, the shop's eviction, and George's diplomatic mission?
Well, you mentioned intervention earlier. That seems key, doesn't it?
I think so. All 3 stories really revolve around this theme of intervention, specifically uninvited intervention. Who gets to step in? When is it right? When is it wrong?
And the outcomes are all over the place. The vicar's intervention with the shop, decisive, maybe ultimately practical, but definitely forceful.
Then the mother intervening in Leonard's life, purely destructive it seems. If it just ramped up suspicion, offered no clarity, probably caused a lot of internal angst.
And George's intervention, well-intentioned, strategic, achieved something, but it's incomplete. It hasn't actually fixed the core problem yet.
Right. It really makes you think about what makes intervention effective or even justified. The sources seem to show that just having good intentions, like George wanting peace or the mother wanting to protect Jill, isn't enough. It often just leads to more awkwardness or unresolved issues.
Yeah, George took a risk, put himself out there, faced rejection, but managed to shift things slightly.
And the vicar took a risk too, the risk of community anger.
Yeah.
Probably to solve a practical incompatibility. There was clarity and decisiveness there, even if it was tough.
Compared to the mother with Leonard, who took 0 personal risk by spying, but arguably caused the most psychological damage, certainly to herself and potentially to others down the line.
It suggests that maybe effective intervention needs skin in the game, needs clarity of purpose, and a willingness to face the consequences directly.
That leads us to the ending of George's story, doesn't it? He achieved this open door for Amber, but it's still conditional in a way. Bill's door is open, but only if Amber, the quote-unquote stubborn one, walks through it first, according to Bill's original stance. So here's a final thought for you to consider, thinking about George's intervention. Has his bold move actually clarified things for Amber in a helpful way? Will she see that open door now as a genuine invitation from her father, maybe prompted by George, a chance to reconcile?
Or will she just see it as the same old challenge? Her dad waiting for her to make the first move to concede something. Has George's intervention truly paved the way or just highlighted the wall she still needs to climb herself?
What does that open door really signify now? Invitation or final test?
That's the lingering question, isn't it? Something to definitely mull over.
Indeed. Thanks for diving deep with us today on these complex situations.
So, what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just moving mics around.
So, what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the arches. Any
Are you what we call Foley then?
Kind of. Yep.
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep. That's the ball bar. That's
This one.
Yep. That's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline.
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever